Hi class. So today we're going to be talking about social practice, and this is what we have been building up all semester long in my course to talk about. So just kind of put everything that we've already learned in context, specifically with Dada and Fluxus, kind of building up to this idea of what social practice art can be. So this basically just means that this is art that its goal is actually to create social or political change. So this work is not going to be symbolic or metaphorical. It's going to be literal, right? These artists are going to be performing actions that could actually have the power to create social change. Or they're going to be engaging in different kind of social engagements with the audience. And so as you'll learn through the slides, this was not an official term until even 2005. So it's a very new art movement. But what I'm going to do in this presentation is actually to go back to like the 1960s and 70s primarily and 80s to some artists before social practice was a term who really were involved in this type of work. And then with the next presentation, we'll look at some more contemporary examples. So I pretty much just go through three artists in this lecture. The first one is Meryl Laderman and she is most famous for inventing what she calls maintenance art and for writing her maintenance art manifesto in 1969. She wrote this document after leaving art school, becoming a wife, becoming a mother, and realizing that she was doing all of these care activities, these maintenance activities, and was no longer engaged in the actual creation of visual art objects. So she wrote the Maintenance Art Manifesto and declared that she has the power to declare anything she wants as art. That now her care activities, her cooking, cleaning, changing diapers, all of that stuff was now going to be her art practice, full stop. So this was pretty radical. And again, we can draw this all the way back to the ready-made, to artists declaring that whatever actions they want can be their artwork. And this is also a really political statement, because what she was doing was saying that this work that was normally invisible and underappreciated was valuable, was as valuable as art. Okay, so she has done several projects which are really emblematic of her ideas. One was called I Make Maintenance Art 1 hour each day, in which she went into a skyscraper in Manhattan and invited the hundreds of maintenance workers in that building to participate in this project. And all she asked them to do was to not change their activities at all, but for 1 hour every day of their work, they would just think to themselves that what they were doing was art, that their cleaning was art, okay? And so you can see how this could really elevate how they thought of themselves, how other people looked at them, that their cleaning activities was as important as art, was as valued as art. And I just think that this has increasing social relevance right now as we are becoming more and more aware of who really can be and should be considered an essential worker, right? Which definitely includes maintenance workers and the work that they do. So she did another project called Touch Sanitation, in which for a period of over 1 year, she shook hands with each of the 8,500 sanitation workers in the city of New York, which at the time were 100% male. And when she shook their hands, she said, "Thank you for keeping New York City alive," right? Again, increasing social relevance right now, as we just need to thank and be appreciative of these workers right now more than ever. So the next artist that you're going to look at in this presentation is Florian OGrady. She is most famous for her work called Art Is, in which she made a float with this giant gold frame and hired dancers who were also holding these little frames, gold frames over their faces for the 1983 Harlem African American Day Parade. And this piece was created in response to a statement by a friend of hers that avant-garde art doesn't have anything to do with Black people. And she said, well, it does, and I'm going to prove it by making this piece which would literally frame Black people and frame this Black space. So again, this is a social piece because these people in the parade literally became the art during this art performance. So, you know, the art was not about including Black people, the art was Black people. So pretty simple but powerful statement. It was a very joyous work, as you'll see. So the last artist is Adrienne Piper. She is not only an artist, but also a philosopher. And her work deals a lot with colorism in the Black community. And she creates these really odd, small performances and gestures that she would do all over the New York City. And with her work, your reaction, that is the viewer's reaction, literally is the work. So whatever your experience to what she is doing, whatever your response, that is the work. That is what constitutes the work. So as you're going through these works, what I want you to think about is what these artists have the power to do, and what social practice has the power to do. Think about what these artists are working against and how their actions could actually be used to create change.